Guys, what's going on? It is finally time. I've been messing with and running around and testing out the elusive Harbor Freight Braun 1000 lumen weapon light. So this weapon light is a clone of the Streamlight TLR1 HL, their 1000 lumen weapon light. I don't have one of the HLs, so I couldn't test it side by side, with the output and the throw and things like that. I've had some in the past, and for $49.99, this light has done really well. So real quick, let's run through the specs that are on the package and what you get with the package. So of course, this is the Braun 1000 lumen tactical rail mounted LED 1000 lumen flashlight. So it does come with 4 rail mount adapters included right here. Mine came with the Glock adapter already on it, but if you have other platforms, you need to adjust the adapter for the Picatinny style rail at the bottom. Then that is included along with extra screws and the little Allen key. It's also really nice. It does come with the 2 CR123A batteries already. So that's a little added bonus because we know those batteries are expensive. So on the packaging, and I'm going to read it straight from here so I don't get anything off. The runtime on this, as stated on the package, is an hour and a half. It has a range up to 850 feet. So the output distance has it's drop proof up to 5 feet. I did some drop testing, got a quick video of that, and we'll do some more right here together. States it has a sleek, low profile design. Sleek and low profile. And impact resistant glass right here on the front. So it does not say anything about an IP rating for this for water resistance. I hadn't dunked it in a glass of water or anything like that. I typically don't plan on falling in the river or in the ocean or falling off a boat. But one thing I did do with this, it appears to be all one solid piece, and the opening is here. The battery door opening has the same clasp, just like the Surefires do. You open this up, put your batteries in it. It is gasketed. I'll just go ahead and pop it off there. It is gasketed around there, right here, all the way around this. There's not an independent gasket, but this whole area here is a rubberized material, pretty thick all the way around, and then it presses up against the flatness here of the battery door. It does have a locking point right here, so whenever you push it in, just like on a Streamlight, and then you pull your hook, your clasp back, it secures shut. I don't see any issues with that. I've seen some other reviews, people dunking these, putting them in glasses of water. I hadn't had any issues. I didn't see any additional openings or any way to get the lens off itself or anything like that. But it does not have a IP rating on the package. Now, Streamlight does have a IP rating on the Streamlight TLR1. I just went ahead and wrote it down. The TLR1 HL has a IP rating of IPX7. And it also has an identical runtime of an hour and a half, 1000 lumens. This does have strobe. When I purchased this, I didn't realize it had strobe, but it does, and it functions the same exact way that Surefires do. All of with your selector switches here, your left and right, that'll be on the sides of your finger guard for your firearm. It operates exactly the same. So as I stated, This is $49.99. It took forever for me to finally get one of these. I waited, I think, 4 or 5 plus months for them to come in stock. I'm seeing online now people are able to get them now. So $49.99, of course, is Chinesium. And the Streamlight TLR1 HL is 165 to 175. It just kind of really depends on where you're going with this. So over 3 of these for the price of the one Streamlight. Now, would I carry this, feel 100% confident in this, carrying it on my EDC weapon or a weapon I utilize for, self-protection or something like that? No, not right now, because they hadn't been out long enough. It's not like the Streamlight. Streamlight's been out forever. It's been utilized by agencies all across the U.S., probably across the world. They have been beat up and just run into the dirt. There's a lot behind that. You can see how great that weapon mounted light is. This is a newer item. It's Chinesium. It hasn't been utilized by governments and law enforcement agencies across the world. It hasn't been beat up by people here on YouTube for years and years and years. So this isn't something I would trust on a, self-defense on my EDC weapon. But what I have been running it on, and I had this picture the other day, and yes, it's unloaded, safe. There's nothing in there, is the Glock 44, which is the 22 long rifle pistol that Glock makes. Has the same footprint as a Glock 19. I actually run it in a Safariland 6004 holster, and this is what I use for planking, for practice, things like that. So I'm not constantly burning a bunch of 9mm. But this is what I've been running on this platform. So it pops on the same exact way. Now, the screw design on the other side of it here is different. And one thing I have seen for myself and saw some people talking about online is whenever you tighten this up the best you can with your fingers, move in here. See that right there? You get some wobble in it. And people were talking about the wobble. One guy took this entire light assembly on the top apart, figured out kind of what it was, cleaned up that part, sanded it down or something, and got it where it would sit flush. And then I was like, well, typically whenever I put a weapon mounted light on there, I'm not just doing it finger tight. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little juice, with the screwdriver to make sure everything is on there and it doesn't pop off. Now, once you give it, tighten it up a little bit. See if you can, let me put my hand here, see if you can see it. Try to keep my hand out the front of the weapon, even though I know it is unloaded. There's hardly any movement at all. It's very, very firm in there. I have no doubts that it's going to stay there. And then in the Glock 19 Safariland 6004 holster, it pops right in there and it sits just like a Glock 19 would. So the weapon light works really well on this training pistol for myself. So real quick, I'm going to take this back off. And I have seen some guys just beating their guns up all over the concrete and this and that. I'm not going to be beating my guns up all over the concrete because I do my best not to drop my weapons on the concrete. And I don't foresee myself dropping my weapon on the concrete. I know it'll work afterwards, but still not trying to beat them up. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I have to buy all this stuff with my own monies. So I'm not going to purposefully beat the mess out of it. But we're going to go ahead and do a couple drop tests here. Everything looks good right there. See if it's still operable. Yep, still operable. Drop it there. Nope, just smudges on there for me. Still good. Drop it on the hinge side. Still works. Sorry, I just flashed y'all. All right, that still works. Light and strobe still work. Glasses still in good shape besides some fingerprints on there from me. I will tell you one thing from taking it in and out the holster. Let me try to get a little closer here. Right here on the handle, you can see right there, that's not reflection. That's actually where the paint has come off of this. I noticed this after drawing some and doing some shooting with it. Some of the paint was pulling off here on that. The paint does feel on all of my, sorry, my light just went out. The TLR1S that I have, the standard, the 300 lumen, the paint on it and the paint on this is a little different. This is smooth. Don't believe this is going to be as heavy duty as the Streamlight paint, with that coming off on the side. But for 49 bucks, you can't really complain. So I took this out at nighttime. I'm going to go ahead and throw that video up so you can see this at nighttime. And then after that video, I went outside with this mounted to the Glock 44, and I did some drops from about 4.5 feet, height, waist height for me. Like if you were going to holster and some odd reason you can't maintain your weapon and you drop it, I've got some video of that, and then some a little bit higher. So I'll throw that up after the nighttime shoot, and then we'll come on back. Harbor Freight's looking really good. I mean, I've got all the targets in the range, so we got a good spot effect, but it's not just a straight spot. We do have some throw on the sides all the way around, so we do get a little bit of flood with this too. So it's kind of like a combo, a flood and a spot. It's just not a straight beam. It does have some throw left and right. So that's our targets over there, and we come over here and past that targets, you got about another 50 feet or so to the wood line. So that looks really good right there. Good spot and throw on the sides. All right, guys, so welcome back after those two quick videos there from the nighttime and then the outdoor drop testing while it's on the Glock 44. For $49.99, the Braun 1000 lumen flashlight. I'm going to let you get in there so you can see it. For $49.99, I feel it is an excellent light to put on your training weapons, or if you want to throw a light on a weapon to go do some shooting at night, some practice, and you don't feel like taking, one of your main carry lights off of your other weapon, and you just want something to throw on there to do some nighttime shooting, maybe some draw practice. If you have a holster that requires a weapon mounted light and you don't have a light for that, you don't have a lot of money, you can't go out and spend, almost $200 on a weapon mounted light, and you want something new, I'm going to tell you, this is probably the route to go. Now, how is this going to hold up in a year from now, a year and a half from now? Is the diode in it really good where it's going to burn, for a significant amount of time? Nobody knows. I don't know. Nobody knows because these haven't been out that long. So we don't know. I know my Surefire, one of the Surefires I have in the house, I've been using that thing for years and years and years and years and years and never had an issue. But we know that because they've been out, they've been used, they're tried and true. This is new. It's, a third, fourth of the price. So, I mean, you do get what you pay for, but this doesn't have the Streamlight markup on it. So, You know, could it be almost just as good? Yeah, it could be, but that is going to be a overtime deal. We're just going to have to wait and see how things play out over the next handful of years and see if this really does hold up, you know, like the Streamlight HL does. But I hope this helps you all out. For $49.99, you know, putting this on a training weapon or having it as a backup, or if you don't have a lot of money and you have a firearm and you want a weapons mounted light and you just don't have the money for it and you don't feel you can hold off, you know, and save until you can get to that, you know, $160, $180 marker, and you feel you need that now and you don't have the time or the money to wait, you know, then this is always a viable option. But like I've said, this is a new item. It is a Chinesium item. You know, Braun is not really in the weapon mounted light arena. So, you know, guys, sorry about that. My camera went down, so I have to edit in this end part here. But like I was saying, you know, it's a viable option if you don't have the money, don't have the time, you don't feel you can wait. But I believe it is an outstanding product to utilize on your training weapons or if you just want a backup. So, Braun, 1000 lumen, weapon mounted light, Harbor Freight, $49.99. I may go pick up another one. But with that, you all stay safe. Have a great weekend. And Minuteman is out.